Thank you. Ms. González-Colón.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do support those amendments as well because we got the same situation in Puerto Rico. First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to address the committee. And I would like to speak in favor of the $600 million. It's included in this provision for nutrition assistance program in Puerto Rico that will be available through the September 30th of 2020. I think it's important to recognize this is a petition, not just from the government of Puerto Rico. Myself, we did that during the last Congress. We submitted. It was approved to some extent, but not the additional funds for the supplement for the addition to the SNAP program. Without those funds, 153,000 new participants are going to be at risk of losing those benefits, while 1.3 million already in the program will experience decrease on those benefits. Providing for that food security is a priority when addressing any type of recovery effort, and that's still happening on the island. 1.6 million Puerto Ricans qualify as low income and receive medical care through the public health care system, which create a heavily reliance on the availability of Medicaid funds. And the disasters of 2017 just increased those numbers. Last Congress appropriated an additional $4.8 billion for Medicaid in Puerto Rico. 100% federal medical assistance, or FMAP, which remain available until September 30 of this year. We haven't received those funds yet. It was approved, we haven't received it. So one of the questions and the ask we're doing in supporting one of the amendments is extending the availability of those funds after that deadline. That's why I join and support Congresswoman Velasquez's amendment to extend the availability of these funds for the government of Puerto Rico for another year. As Congress has yet to address the impeding Medicaid cliff, I also submitted Amendment Gonzalez number 35 to increase Medicaid funds available for a total of $3.1 billion for 2 additional years. And this is in accordance with the President's budget's request for fiscal year 18, supporting pre-hurricane level conditions. Last year, Congress designated every low-income community census tract in Puerto Rico as a qualified opportunity zone. And we supported that amendment, and that's the reason we are asking in another amendment to extend that to 100% of the island. Right now, we just got 95% of the island of the census tracts are being designated as a low-income, providing some incentives for investment through the recovery process. The problem is the data was gathered before the hurricane, so that's the reason it is not accurate, and we need to expand that 5% to the whole island. Treasury has based its designation in outdated data from the 2011 American Community Survey, so that's the reason we are supporting Amendment number 36, that provided Puerto Rico entirely will be deemed as to be certified as an opportunity zone. The U.S. federal healthcare programs have been underfunded. Puerto Rico Medicare, and unlike the mainland, 90% of Medicare beneficiaries within Medicare A and B receive their care through local Medicare Advantage programs in Puerto Rico. And we use it as well. So the hurricanes accelerated the decline in coverage of all those programs. And Puerto Rico has 280,000 Medicare Advantage enrollees, equal to 97 of all duals on the island. Amendment 38 addressed the current reimbursement formula, making necessary changes to correct and stabilize Medicare Advantage payments to the island. The next amendment I presented is number 39. That is crafted to create transparency and awareness of federal funds, federal disaster funds. Since 2017, Puerto Rico has had over $40 billion appropriated for disaster relief, but yet 97% of those funds, we haven't received it yet. So the plans and invoices have been submitted as required, and the majority of these funds have not been disbursed. For an example, of $39.4 billion allocated to Puerto Rico, only $18 billion has been obligated, and barely $9.7 have been outlaid. This is a problem that various states are still having as well, including Texas, Florida, Carolinas, and even Louisiana, dating back as 2016. That's the reason this amendment will provide Congress the opportunity to, the agencies to need to keep us updated about what is the progress of this disbursement so we can know the reasons for the delays and how to correct them in Congress. It is due to the lack of transparency that I propose this amendment that require every federal agency that has received disaster funding to provide a report to Congress every 60 days describing where the funding is and, what stage in the disbursement process, who or where the funding is going, and any barriers that we need to move in order to make it happen. If the problem is in the applications with the federal bureaucracy or at the local level, it is our congressional oversight that will help us ease the log jams that inhibit that streamlined recovery. Lastly, I would like to support amendment number 25 of Congresswoman González-Colón of American Samoa to increase nutritional assistance by $5 million in response to Cyclone Gita. She's not here, but she asked me, and we do support knowing what happened with her fellow constituents. The 100-mile-per-hour winds of this cyclone wipe out the entire growing season of the American Samoa, a community that rely heavily on its farming. By making this amendment in order, approximately 6,000 people in the territory will benefit. And that's the reason we, as a territory, support the inherent amendment as well. I thank you, and I look forward to having any questions. I yield back.